if you're a factory, on the bigger side, you get a tech pack at the end, and it's like 30 pages long, and you're like, yeah, go and make this. And the guys in like China, India, Bangladesh are like, yeah, okay, I guess so. And then they go, and then there's obviously issues in production because there's like no understanding on both sides. There's no like, can you tell me how you make this? Do you understand this? Can we work together to get this produced properly? Because if there's issues in production, if there's then going to be returns, if there's wastage, like I'm going to suffer as a brand. There's this like buyer and then vendor relationship that still goes on today, which like is ridiculous because both sides like suffer. Like, why don't you just? And this is like, I'm not going to pitch my company, but this is like where we came up with like Make the Dot, my company, because I spent a lot of time in Hong Kong, and we were in a factory, and there was a room full of jeans that were going to get burned, and we're like, why is the jeans getting burned? Or like one of the seams was wrong. Why? Because they were looking at a 30-page tech pack, and there was a typo. And we're like, when did the vendor know about this? Or when they got the tech pack? Did you like explain to them the design process earlier? Explain the actual material that was going to get used earlier? Talk them through it? No, we didn't. We just gave them a tech pack. So we're like, well, that's like not a, call me a layman, that's not a way to produce anything like efficiently, right? Like, did you not get into like a concept board? Did you not like present to them in a more visual way so they can see this better and they can understand it? No, we didn't. So that's kind of like, these solutions again are like economic solutions to these environmental problems and just common sense, commonsensical.
That's a great point.
I'm a pragmatist, right? And I think of things through like economic solutions to like environmental problems, right? So a lot of the environmental impact of fashion, 1% of all emissions, or you all know the stats, is because of waste. And waste is an economic problem, right? It's a manufacturing problem, it's a design problem, it's a shipping problem. There's a manufacturer in Jiangsu called Adair. No affiliate, no plug. I just went to go see them when I was in China in December. They sell recycled poly, only specializing in poly. So Costco, Walmart, Target, IKEA, everybody. It's 100% recycled, and they've got it down to such an art form that it's cheap enough to compare to like virgin material, right? So they only go B2B, they only deal with poly, and they've got the economies of scale down to such a T that recycled material is just as cheap as virgin. That is the ultimate case study of how we should be thinking about things. They shouldn't be more quote unquote expensive. They just should be less waste, things done more efficiently, less sampling in production, more like efficient cutting, that we can then get to an output rather than thinking of things as, okay, it's going to cost more because it's quote unquote sustainable. For me, design, so we do design software. So for us, we live and breathe it. The design is the start of the whole workflow, right? It's the start of what's going to be produced. So design and designers have a responsibility to think about the end product while they're coming up with their concept. Now, like, what does that mean? If I'm a designer, am I thinking about what fabrics I'm going to use? Probably. Am I thinking about the actual nitty-gritty of natural versus synthetic? Maybe, depending on the brand I'm working with. Am I thinking about the landed cost of shipping that product then, and then what's that going to mean? No, definitely I'm not. So that's just like one kind of small example with the design, and then you can like expand that all the way out to where am I buying my cotton from? Is there any like Xinjiang cotton or anything like that around it? So for us, it's the design has the chance to. I mean, I get it, right? Designers are pressed, and everyone works on a calendar, and everyone works on a timeline, and all of this. I get it. But if we can cut out efficiencies, if we can make things a bit more transparent, and if we can allow brands to do less guesswork, right? Am I testing products before I've even made a sample? Probably not. Am I building out a whole line of collection and only 20% is going to sell and the rest is going to get discarded or go into landfill? Like, a lot of this comes down to being transparent and doing deeper research and doing more testing and doing more pre-production work and pre-sampling work in that design phase. So when you actually come to creating something, it's more likely to sell, it's less likely to go to waste, it's using better products, and it's more likely to be a higher quality product. And if you think about it from, if you think about the bigger brands like around the world at the moment, right? And a lot of them aren't doing too well, and a lot of the reason comes down to products and sameness of products. If you're going to H&M, if you're going to Uniqlo, if you're going to Gap, if you're going to or whoever, there's a lot of product that looks kind of similar. And why is that? It's because the teams aren't doing a lot of research, the teams are time pressed, they're using cheaper materials, so they're competing on price rather than competing on style. And then there's this doom loop just continues. So yeah. Well, I mean, like, think about what you're trying to get at as a brand or as a designer or as like a product. Like, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to cut efficiency? Are you trying to grow your market? And then like kind of like working back from there, there's like a great tool called FXD maybe. So they use like AI to like efficiently cut better. So there's like less like wastage in manufacturing. There's a lot of brands that now do a lot more like testing and a lot more consumer testing earlier. So they, like, let's say for example, they create like 2 products, even like Skechers, quickly test with their social media, left, right. Okay, left wins by like 80%. Okay, that's like a pretty good result. And then we'll create like a small batch of that. And if those sell really well, okay, then we'll create like a full run. So there's a lot of like stuff that isn't super complicated that isn't being done, and there's a lot of stuff that is still low-hanging fruits that will affect like both top line and bottom line for brands that still can be like implemented very quickly. There's quite a few startups trying to solve the grading and the pattern making piece with AI. It's at various stages of infancy. That's the hardest thing to solve. The AI to design like a prototype there's quite a few people that do that, so that's not too bad. But the patterning and grading and the cutting, because cutting is maths, right? It's like how many pieces can you get on like a square meter. So there's quite a few companies also in that space. Anything that can be like mathematically input output. So like let's say for example, like there's a couple of brands that like friends of mine work with a little bit that okay, let's say for example, so we do design software, so they create 2 digital prototypes of red dress, blue dress, for argument's sake, throw it on their social media, see which dress gets more like, because you can vote on it on Instagram, right? Which dress gets a higher share, and if it's a great like 80%, 20%, then that's a pretty good outcome that the red dress is what their audience reacts to. So what they then do is take that red dress, create a small run, so not the normal like run that they'd do for a full collection or like a replenishment stock, just like a small capsule collection. They'd put that on their website to sell, and if that sells out pretty quickly, they'd then add that to their normal assortment, because then that's pretty definitive that their audience wants to buy this red dress. So some brands just do the first initial test. They create like the prototypes, test it. Okay, blue dress 1, let's go and create a load of the blue dresses. Some do both. Some just do the small sample, the small drop, and then go into full production. It all just kind of depends. But the faster growing brands today are the ones that do some kind of upfront testing or are really close to their consumers and are doing less guesswork in design and production. I mean, it depends how big you are as a company. If you're at like 100 million revenue, I don't know, maybe like 100, 200, it depends. It's like how long is a piece of, yeah, how long is like a piece of string, right?